I'm Alie Tacq, welcome to Forza McLaren, and in this episode we're getting behind the wheel of the McLaren 600 LT. LT stands for Longtail, a hallowed designation amongst McLarens, and a nod to the Le Mans winning F1 GTR Longtail. With enhanced aerodynamics, a carbon fibre monocoque and titanium exhausts, this car certainly is the full picture. So to get this thing in the frame, we're going to need a very special guest. This week we're joined by photographer to the car stars, Patrick Gosling. Patrick, welcome to the show. You've got a test today, not just of your driving skills, but also of your virtual photography chops.
I'm here and revved up and ready to give it a go. It's an interesting prospect, this, but yeah, absolutely super happy and stoked to get cracking with this.
Well, the first thing that we're going to do today, and we'll chat in just a second about your incredible career in car photography. First thing we're going to do, though, is head out on a little route and find our way towards the first checkpoint. Our journey would begin with a drive out of Edinburgh to the westernmost edge of the map, and a chance to grill Patrick on where it all began.
I started off very early on. I really enjoyed photography when I was at school, and realised that the academic side of things wasn't actually going to be hold much of the future for me. Even though my father was a mathematician and keen for me to go into the more academic side, I enjoyed photography, and I realised that I actually wanted to go ahead and do something with it. So I went to art college, did a foundation course in general art and design, and then I applied for a job at a local magazine publishers and started working for them. Age 17, as a junior photographer darkroom assistant working on car and motorcycle magazines. I was very lucky. When I was really young, my father was a member of a motor club. One of his oldest friends ran stalls that were based at Silverstone for the Formula One Grand Prix. This is back in the late 70s.
Oh wow,
and
cool.
I used to go and work at Silverstone when I was like 11, 12 years old, selling film at Formula One Grand Prix.
What was your first time sort of seeing McLarens, getting involved with McLaren? Was that through the Grand Prix, seeing them there, or is it a brand that you got involved with later on?
Basically, I photographed motorcycle racing for about 15 years. And I had an agency that where we were specialising in doing two world sports. We were doing motorcycle Grand Prix, World Superbikes, British Superbikes, covering a lot of launches on the motorcycling side. And then I was very lucky to get an opportunity to go and work in Formula One at the beginning of the 2000s, and I started working as a sponsorship photographer within Formula One, and I worked for a title sponsor for a Formula One team, who in 2007 moved over and became a title sponsor for McLaren and Formula One. So I started doing their sponsorship work, working within McLaren. I all of a sudden got an access all areas pass into the amazing McLaren Technology Centre, and I was photographing the Formula One cars and the drivers. And it was at about the same time when McLaren Automotive was moving away from their Mercedes SLR project and into what has become McLaren Automotive. And it was just one of those very, very lucky circumstance things where I moved from the Formula One side into the automotive side and started working with McLaren on the automotive side right at the very beginning of what was the MP412C, then became the McLaren 12C. It's one of those places that the first time you walk in there you cannot believe your eyes, and then the 999th time you go in there it still absolutely takes your breath away.
Nothing's changed, yeah. Exactly the same. We're going to be rolling down this road, and I think this is your moment to sort of start seeing that creative photographic eye. We're going to be going down the road. You've got to find us a spot to take like a little sort of a dynamic shot in, a shot which looks like the car's moving a little bit, kind of traveling. And talk us through sort of the process of what you're looking for in scouting a location, but also, what you're looking for in terms of composing the photograph as well.
Absolutely. So are we going to treat this a little bit like if we were out together, the two of us, on a shoot, and you are my pro driver, and we're connected by walkie-talkies, and we're driving along, and I go, hang on a minute, stop, we'll do it here, and then I'll get you to drive past, and I'll capture a frame as we go past.
You know what, Patrick? I like that idea a lot. I think because for me, it flatters my ego to think of myself as a pro driver, and that's most of it for me. But we also get a good photo out of it on the back end.
Okay, let's give it a go. Absolutely.
Give it a try. We're heading up north here towards an area where sort of there's some scenic locations. There's a nice big replica bridge from the Scottish Highlands. And it gets quite pretty through. You have to go through the splash first, though. Not sure how a McLaren. Maybe you have to raise the ride height a little bit if you want to do that in real life.
Yeah, nose lift.
Yeah, that's right.
Some of this drifting stuff is amazing that you're doing. So maybe we should try to get capture a freeze frame of you drifting with the smoke pouring off the rears.
Let's give that a try. All right, if you, I can do that. I can hit the handbrake and do some skids. That sounds like a good shot. I think.
So what have we got? We've got this big long right-hander coming up. So if I pull over on the left-hand side here, okay, let's give it a go and just get you just to come through with a big smoky drift.
I'm gonna send it. I already know I'm just gonna absolutely send this.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm coming now.
You're coming.
I'm coming now. En route. I'm slam the handbrake here. Get some. Oh, there's a lot of cars. Okay. We're good.
No. Early.
Bit early.
Yeah.
We'll try it again.
Looks more like an accident. Okay. I think
I'm
you
going
go.
now. I'm sending it. Okay. 70. 88, traveling back in time.
Go. That's it.
Oh, that felt good.
On the road.
That felt good. We'll say that it was taken in continental Europe. All right, so you're looking right now at the photo, kind of working out how you're going to compose your shot. How does that work? What are you looking for when you're doing that?
It's all about choosing what it is that you're going to do before you actually take the shot. So what you're hoping for is that the car will follow a prescribed line, and that the angle that you are in the point at which the car will be at its most dramatic, producing the most amount of smoke, and then you just kind of hit the button, and you do keep your eyes open. I was going to say close your eyes and hope.
But do keep your eyes open.
Yeah, you do keep your eyes open.
So you're lining up like. I mean, if you're taking a photo and you're kind of camping out, waiting for a car to roll on past at a sort of prescribed moment on the road, then you're setting up like all the background stuff. You've already worked it out. That's already done.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the most important things that you've got to try to remember is that you don't want any rubbish in the background that's going to distract from what it is that you're actually taking. What it is that you're actually photographing.
Okay.
So you're looking out for like we were doing. We were waiting for cars to go through, and then you make sure that you haven't got things like telephone boxes or telegraph poles or road signs or any furniture that's going to ruin the shot, because you want it to be. It's about the car. You're photographing the car, so you want it to be clean. You want the shot to be clean, and you don't. I'll even go as far as running over the road to pick up bits of litter that have been dropped, because okay, yes, you can retouch them, but why not just try to do it all in camera rather than having to waste time retouching afterwards?
So when you're using a camera, if I use a camera, I'll often just use autofocus because I'm an am, not a pro. Would you use the focus reel on a lens? Is there an advantage to that?
It's really interesting. A friend of mine was shooting a race this weekend, and he shot the start on autofocus, and something happened. The problem with autofocus is you've got autofocus windows within the frame of the camera, and you have to concentrate 100% on where that autofocus window is, because you may well have seen even using non-professional cameras, if the subject that you are trying to photograph moves out of the autofocus window, the autofocus just goes firing onto the background, and then the subject is out of focus. So you have to constantly keep that autofocus window on the subject that you want to focus on. So with with cars, particularly with
Yeah.
McLarens, it's really easy. I've had loads of practice and I kind of know what I'm doing. But you always pick an autofocus window where you're going to be, and you'll see on the frame that I'm doing now that you're pretty much looking at the front quarter. So it's the headlight, and you need an area of contrast for the autofocus to be able to hook onto. So you're looking for an area of contrast. So it'll be where the headlight is on towards the paint color, or it'll be where the end of the bonnet finishes and the windscreen starts, where it goes from color to black. And you've got to really concentrate hard on holding that autofocus window on that change of contrast, because that's what the camera is. That's what the camera is using as its focus point, is the difference in contrast. You can move the autofocus window around. There's a button on the back of the camera that you can move the autofocus window around, so that it's, for instance, my bottom right, so that when the car comes in, you pick the car up really early and you're following it through the corner. And then, as the composition is right, you know that the autofocus is hooked on and it's pulled focus all the way through. And then you fire. I only ever fire one frame. Because I'm just waiting for that moment. And, I come from the old days when you didn't have autofocus and you literally had to pre-focus on a bit of tarmac and wait for the car to pop into it and fire your frame off. And then you'd fly home with a bag of film and not know whether you got anything in focus. Film was about 10 quid a roll, and there was only 36 frames on a roll. So if you held your finger down, you'd be burning through 10 quid every 20 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever. I'd go to those races and I'd shoot 40 rolls of film the whole weekend, and that was 3 days of work, and I'd shoot 45 rolls of film. So just a second, I'll get my calculator.
I'm trying to do it in my head.
I got
that faraway look. I was like 40.
1,250 frames.
1,250 frames.
No, sorry, 1,600. That's 1,620 frames that I would
3,700 and
1,620 frames that I'd shoot over the course of a race weekend on average.
Wow. Yeah.
And now, if I'm in the back of a car doing tracking shots around a race circuit, I can shoot 1,000 frames in 2 laps on digital.
Wow.
Because I've got the memory space.
And that's 4 days work previously is that amount. Yeah. And that's, does it get you more photos? Do you you shoot so much more?
No, it gives you more variety to choose from. It gives you more assets to work with, but I'd still only choose 1 or 2. So anyway, I've got to a shot.
Hey, cool.
I have a shot.
Okay.
So I've pulled the picture into Lightroom, which is a much simpler version of Photoshop. It's probably the workhorse for most professional photographers now. And I'm just going to do some very, very basic tweaks just to make it look a little bit more natural. Because I've selected to shoot this on quite a long lens, you can see that the back of the image is out of focus slightly, but the front of the car is pin sharp. So the first thing to do is, I'll just set the white balance. And then I'm just tweaking the exposure very slightly. And then I'll just open up the shadows slightly, take down the highlights a little bit. And then I'll probably do a little bit of cheating and just put a little radial filter on there and just boost the sharpness slightly. And also maybe just take down the highlights just so you get a little bit more detail in the car.
It looks amazing,
The car's great, the smoke looks good. I'll tell you what we could do, actually. We could just put a little radial filter on there and just try and make the smoke just look a little bit more banging. So just
another photography technical term there, banging. Banging smoke. Yeah.
Okay. And
That's
then maybe
cool.
just pull the exposure up a little bit. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I that's awesome. That's so cool. And it's amazing how much it lifts it as well, especially the white balance. Just bringing the white balance changed the feel of the photo completely.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you can see this, you go super warm, and then you just bring it back. You see how the sky is reflected in the top of the car and the puddles, and then I just pull the blue down slightly.
Wow, yeah.
It just makes it look a little bit more natural.
We've just had a little look at some post-production, post techniques we can use on Forza photos. But there's a kind of a whole world of this stuff. And you have a shot that I thought was amazing, which was of a McLaren out in Scotland.
This is what we call a rig shot. So it starts off with there. The rig is mounted onto the camera. You can see there's three points where the camera is mounted because you have to triangulate. And then there's running down here, there's this 7-meter pole. So the camera's obviously hanging off the end, and then the camera is mounted, and it's actually mounted upside down. So these frames are rotated. So it actually looks like that when I'm looking through the camera.
Wow, okay, right.
So you mount the camera on the rig, and then we've got a driver sitting in the car, and he's ready to go. So you start off, you shoot a base frame, and you shoot a base frame using a polarizing filter so that you've got the black areas nice and black. And then you shoot the next frame where you rotate the polarizing filter so you can get more detail in the bits that the polarizer didn't hit to start with. So you can see how it's nice and dark in this bit here. Oopsie. And then you rotate the polarizing filter so that it's now dark down in this section here. Okay, so you've got your 2 base frames of the car static. You then put the car in reverse. You'll see that the reversing light is on, and very, very, very gently just ease off, and the car is actually running backwards very, very slowly. Okay. And you can see that it's actually not a very smooth road, because you can see here there's lots of sort of like buzzy vibration. But you know what? I don't mind that. It
looks like speed to me. It doesn't look like
vibration. Absolutely. When you look at the final image, you'll see that we've actually emphasized it a little bit in retouch. Okay, so there we are. We've got the car, and it's rolling backwards very, very gently. You have to make sure that you've done things like make sure that the driver is actually looking like he's driving forward, because if he was looking up in the mirror, his head would be in the wrong position in the finished image. So,
got his arm back, and he's like leaning over the between the seats.
So you've got, so this is your motion shot. So this is this is for the wheels turning. So then this is the really tricky bit. What you do is you then get a tripod, and you bring the tripod. You put the tripod on the ground, and you bring the tripod up, and you support the camera. So remember, the camera's upside down. So you then have to clamp the camera onto the top of the tripod, and then you remove the rig.
Wow.
So you've now got the camera in pretty much the same position as the camera was with the rig moving, but everything is super duper sharp. You then move the car out of the way, and you take a shot of the road. So that means that the retoucher can basically put all of the motion from here and add it into the static road. And then you've got the static car where you can add the moving wheels, and then you join it all together, and you end up with that, as if by magic.
It is magic. It's not just as if by, that is absolute magic. Amazing.
But you can imagine, I'm going to stop sharing that now. But you can
so many different,
it takes a long time. You're looking ahead towards the corner, or if you're doing a rig shot from the front of the car looking back, you can see that there's something going on. You can see that it's come from somewhere. So you've got this like beautiful vanishing point. So you do that, then you've got to unpack the other car, because obviously you've got to have another car, because you can't carry a 7-meter rig around on it in a McLaren. And you have to build it all, and it's all got it's all tension. So it's got a big tensioning wire on it. So you build it all up, and then luckily I always have someone helping me. So I'll hold the camera in the position that I want it to be, and I'll get one of my assistants to then wave this massive pole around, and then we have to locate the suckers on the car and get it all rigid and all tightened up, and then you let go of the camera, and it's like, phew, we haven't pulled the windscreen out or cracked the panel, or it's like,
nothing's broken. Run. So for our next thing, I think we're going to practice a little bit of drifting, Patrick, and kind of start working towards a new shot. We've had a look at dynamic shots. We're going to have a look at something which is sort of a little different, the idea of a tracking shot, a car that's sort of really getting sideways, really doing something special. I put a waypoint up that we can head to. if we follow the green marker, and once we get there, it's peeing down with rain now, so we can practice doing some slides. This might not be your first time though sliding around in a 600 LT. This is the car that you've got. This is you got one parked outside, have you?
Yeah, I have. Well, it's currently in storage. It's something that I've always wanted to be part of the brand in that sense. Yeah. You get very connected to working with these things. You know, when you spend so much time with them over the years of all the development work that goes into them, and you're working with the engineers and working with the test drivers and working with the PR teams and going on the launches, and you get really, really connected with them. And very luckily, I was on the launch of this in Hungary, and they had the full colour range of them all parked outside every day. And every day I'd go, maybe I'll get an orange one. No, maybe I'll get a white one. And then I'd go out on the track and I go, do you know the one that looks the fastest? Is Chicane Grey. Chicane Grey looks absolutely, by far and away, when it's out buzzing around the track with the pro driver behind the wheel, it's definitely going for Chicane Grey. So I'm very lucky. That's
the car that you're driving here in game, right? That's Chicane Grey.
That is Chicane Grey, yeah.
Oh, get out. Exactly. Okay, cool. How's it been as a sort of owner's experience? Has it been everything you wanted it to be? What kind of? I guess what I'm asking is, as someone who doesn't own a McLaren, what does it feel like to own a McLaren?
It's a very special feeling. It is a very, very special feeling. I'm very familiar with the cars. I'm very lucky that I get to experience them firsthand. When we're on events. So I've been driven by some of the best drivers in the world around circuits in these cars. I've had these amazing drivers drive them for me, so I can see what they're capable of. I have to admit, I'm probably a better photographer than I am driver. However, the great thing about the 600 LT is it's the thing that attracted me to it. It is so gentle, it's so easy to drive, and it's so comfortable in the way that McLarens just have this amazing crossover. They're neither, they are super, super fast if you want to, give it a good old kick, but actually you don't need to drive it that fast.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow, that's awesome. It's just so, it's just very cool whenever you meet someone who's very passionate about a car, a brand, and is able to be a part of that history themselves. I think that's always a special thing. So it's just nice to hear from you. But how are you feeling about doing some slidey slides in the 600 LT? Is it coming to you? Are you getting better at it, or are you? How's it looking?
Yeah, but hang on. I think we've got traction control on them. I think we're just going to
switch that off.
It's tending to stop us from doing quite as much drama.
With drama on our minds, it was time to head south to the festival site. A journey that took a little longer than expected.
I don't like these damp bits. with traction control off, it's not really a comfortable feeling.
You always know that at any moment there could be a bump in the road, or a little puddle, or just anything that's just gonna spoil your day. That's it. That's more like it. Beauty.
Bit of over-rotation.
It was looking so good for a while though. It's actually quite hard to keep steady around here. I'm doing the same. There it is.
There we go.
Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful.
It's actually looking really nice with the coming around the bit of the roundabout that we've just been on, where it's backlit and the smoke's backlit. That looks really cool. We'll just get this van driver to have a little look. This section here, see where you come round and the light bounces off the road.
Beautiful. Because we're approaching golden hour here, really, aren't we? I mean, if you look at the sun, where the sun is.
It'd be a cracking time to do a tracking shot if we can.
Well, let's try and do one here then before the sun goes down. Let's try and get one. Let's try and get one right here.
So let's get around the roundabout to. Let me think about how we can do this. Okay. So we need to shoot just as it's in this patch of light here.
I'm on my way.
When you are. Now, we might have got a car in the background again. Yeah, let's do one more lap. Let's do one more lap.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh!
Pro driver gets it wrong.
There you go. No matter how much you paid.
I know, right? Yeah. Got a lead foot. Here we go. Here we go. Got it under control this time.
Lovely.
There you go.
Okay.
I mean, does that sort of thing happen in real shoots? So you're driving along and then suddenly it's sunset, or do you always plan for goals an hour? Is that are you working around it?
You would plan for it, definitely. To be honest, I actually prefer shooting after the sun's gone down, because then you get the lovely colours reflected in the sky, and then you can get the colour on the car. Hang on a sec. I'm trying to get the angle on the car right so that we can still see the smoke. I'm trying to hide the car that's coming around the roundabout. Oh man. So X, focus. Okay, now Y, go into camera settings. Right, so shutter speed. Bosh.
I feel as though there might be a safety issue there with having another car rolling along and leaning out with a camera. Are you strapped in? Is there stuff?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So doing tracking shots on the road is really risky. It's really, really risky, because the unfortunate thing is that in order for you to get a great tracking shot, you need to be the tracking vehicle needs to be on the wrong side of the road. Right. So the only way you can do that is if you close the road, or you're on a really long straight bit of road, and the driver of the tracking vehicle can see so far ahead that he's confident that he can pull out onto the wrong side of the road so that I can get a 3/4 shot across the car. It's not something that I enjoy very much, because you just don't know. There could be a side road, somebody could pull out. So I'm not a massive fan of doing tracking shots on the road. Right. Doing them on a racetrack, much safer, much safer.
That's right. You can control what's out there. Yeah,
you can control what's out there. And yes, to answer your question, I always wear a harness. Sometimes, depending on the circuit, sometimes you'll be asked to wear a helmet as well.
Okay.
But we're only doing 40 miles an hour max. It's very, very slow. But the driver of the tracking vehicle can still hit the brakes or go over it. There was a classic one once, very funny. I won't tell you who it is, but if he ever watches this, he's going to go puce. We were driving, we were doing some tracking outside of a circuit in France, in the back of a Land Rover Discovery 3, which has, it was really good because it has the picnic table back doors. The back doors open like that. And I was lying down in the back of the car, and we were doing, it was actually doing some tracking shots of a motorcycle. And I was lying down in the back of the car, and we were driving along, and suddenly he went, beep, sorry! And he hit the speed bump, and the back door flew up and hit me in the face, and then the top came down and hit me in the back of the head. So I'm sort of lying in the back of the car, supported on my elbows, photographing the thing, and suddenly I get the boot, the bottom of the boot hit me in the chin, and then the boot lid hitting me in the back of the head, because he was only doing 40 miles an hour, but he just suddenly...
That's no joke. Yeah, that's... 40 miles an hour isn't that slow to do that.
I can't brake. And he hit this thing, and he just went... Dun, and,
Oh, man. How was it? Was it... You had to go to the hospital or anything?
No,
you were okay?
Oh, good. He was just mortified.
Yeah, well, had some choice words for him afterwards, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, right, let's just import this picture into Lightroom.
Oh, here's the photo. Oh, cool. Oh, you can really see the light.
Yeah. So the lovely thing about this low light is we've got this great big shadow area here, so you can see that it's lit from the left hand side of the frame. So this side of the car is in shadow, but the great thing is that the smoke is cross lit, so it really highlights.
Yeah.
So again, I'm gonna do my little white balance trick. So I'm gonna click the white balance and just.
So how are you choosing which area to? Is there a play there to choose which area to click for white balance?
Okay. Well, I'll give you a quick demonstration. So if I went onto this area here, It goes very, very blue
Wow.
because it was a really pink area that I was choosing. If I go onto the road, it's actually pretty natural. If I went onto a black, it goes green.
Oh wow, yeah.
If I go onto someone that's reflecting the sky, it goes pretty brown again because it's looking at the sky. So I'd always go for a little bit of neutral tarmac that's almost as close to grey as you can find. Gotcha. And then just play with it very slightly. Yeah, I like it a little bit warm because it's the evening. So let's just do a little radial filter jobby on the wheels. Just pull that wheel out slightly and we just duplicate it, bring it forwards onto there. So you can see those amazing...
Yeah, no, that does a great job. It just pulls them out a little bit. Again, those wheels.
You can see the amazing brake calipers in there. And then probably what I might do is just on this shadow area. So there's a little thing that you can do called range mask in Lightroom, and then I can just choose a couple of colors here, and then I can just darken down that shadow area.
Oh wow!
So it just makes it look a little bit more crosslit, and then just add a bit of contrast to it.
Much more like moody.
Yeah. And then what I'll do is I'm going to go to the side of the car. Oh, nuts. I'll go to the side of the car and then just grab that over there. And then just pull the shadows out a little bit just to make it look a little bit nicer. It's got a little bit dark at the back.
That's fascinating.
And then, just to cheat, I'll probably put a grad on the sky.
Gotcha.
Crunch the sky up a bit, make the sky a little bit bluer.
That does so much suddenly.
Yeah. You can see how when I use the crop tool, there's this grid pattern, and it's the rule of thirds.
Okay.
And it's always a good idea to put something which is the focal point, which is probably this front wheel here, on or thereabouts on one of these thirds. So there you've got this really nicely composed shot that actually sits quite nicely.
That's mega. That's amazing.
And then
that's amazing.
Just sharpen up the back slightly.
It's an amazing difference, isn't it? Just, I mean, we were saying it earlier, but it's an amazing difference just how much a little bit of time coming in and post elevates these photos. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
There's the before and after, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. We got sort of sidetracked a little bit, I guess, there with the golden hour coming in for us. And we can go down and get like a really sort of epic big skid. I mean, the McLaren 600 LT is a pretty beautiful car when it comes down to it. The design keys, I guess, they come from a bunch. I mean, there's a bunch of other McLarens that sort of are similar in the range. This one's more of a sort of track car, if I'm right.
Exactly. Yeah. So the 600 LT is based on the McLaren Sports Series, which is the 570, the 570S and the 570S Spider, and the 600 LT is their super sports version of the 570, and it's a limited edition run car. It's got these incredibly cool and unique top exit exhausts, which are the first time anybody ever sees it, it just blows them away. And the fact amazing, that it does genuinely blow flames out the exhaust pipes as well. It's extraordinarily cool car.
You have to get some like marshmallows or whatever and
exactly.
come out there. It's I mean, sitting in there, the engine sound. Like, is it the kind of car where you can sort of just cruise and go for a long, or is the engine sound really? Is it a lot? Is it a lot to be in there?
No, absolutely not. No. It's super comfortable, super chilled inside. You can hear the radio, for goodness sake. Not that you ever want to switch the radio on.
Right.
I tell you, if I've got one regret, I kind of wish I'd bought a McLaren 600 LT Spider, because the rear window you can drop down when the roof's up. Oh,
cool.
And so you get all that amazing exhaust sound coming through the back. So you've got the luxury of having the roof up, but you can drop the rear window down, and the noise is phenomenal. And that's the only thing I wish I'd had as an option on my car. But no, it's very, very civilized.
Well, speaking of cool locations, I think we picked this one out because it's one of the best places, I think, to do a big skid on. And I think it would make for a good photo.
We've got lovely light again, so let me just...
We do, it's just perfect timing, actually.
Is there a hill that you can jump over, maybe?
Let's have a look. There might be, actually. I might be able to jump in from the right-hand side here. Let's have a go. I can get a little bit of air going this way. I'm going to see how much speed I can get up. The timing's going to have to be pretty good, I think.
You should never photograph road cars off-road, though, by the way.
No?
It doesn't look right.
I can get a little bit of air, but it's going to be messy.
No, okay. There's a really lovely section where you're coming down the hill backlit. I tell you what, a shot here. If we just reverse up, if you just head on up around this, left-hander just coming up there, okay. And then just come buzzing down and try and flick it. As you're going. Okay. Are you going the wrong way around the circuit?
There's no right way. There's no right way.
Good. Excellent.
I'll come on round. I'll come on round, and then so I'm heading down there now.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can do that again, and then just pitch it into the left-hander, and just try and get a little bit of
sideways
skid going on.
All right. Just cooking the
this
tires
might be a
back
really
here.
cool shot to try and do on a sort of longish lens. Okay, keep going, and now.
Let's
see.
There's a spot of handbrake there. I don't know if you're going to catch the rear tires locking.
No, this is good. This is looking good.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's looking good. So it seems quite difficult to get the car sharp front to back, which isn't unusual, even in real world.
So does that come down? We spoke a little bit about it earlier, but we haven't really talked about it a lot yet. So this comes down to sort of choosing. I mean, a little bit comes down to using wide angle versus longer lenses.
But you see, the interesting thing is that the shot that I've created here, it looks like it's shot on a long lens, but it also looks like it's shot on a wide angle lens. So we've created something a little unusual here because we've got that lack of depth of field that you would get on a telephoto lens, but we've got the distortion that you get on a wide angle lens. So you can see that the background is really nicely out of focus. Yet the car is slightly stretched and squashed, which is the attributes that you get with a wide angle lens. So right. I think this is not a picture that you could take in real life, but I kind of like it. It's got great drama to it. So shall I just give it a quick tweak?
Yeah, give it a tweak. I'd love to see that. I completely agree. I think as a whole, I don't have the eye to be able to say, to be able to pick the things out you were saying, but I think the shot itself, it has that feeling of distance, especially with the car sort of careening through the corners.
Yeah. I'm going to use the saturation tool to make this McLaren orange really pink. Look at that. Look at that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Amazing.
I got to say, from like a composition perspective, from like just looking at the photo, I think it's one of my favorite ones we've taken today. I really like it. I like the colors in the background as well. Very colorful.
Yeah. Pretty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, look, we've got glowing brake disc.
There you go. There it is.
That's because you put the handbrake on.
I was just thinking, how's it brake? It's like jam the handbrake on mid-corner.
There you go. And then we'll just put a little ground on the sky. So let's just do a little before and after. Then you can see that
amazing.
I'm not doing very much. You've managed to bring it into a real environment.
Yeah, exactly. It feels great. And I honestly, because the sort of the browns of the castle doesn't look, you might imagine, because you're bringing so much red out of the frame that's going to get bleached, but actually it looks good.
By using the eyedropper tool, you're finding an area of neutrality to adjust the white balance to, rather than the whole image.
I gotcha. Okay. If you're ready, Patrick, we can head on to our next waypoint. We're going to head a little bit further down the road. And as we drive, I'm curious to chat to you a little bit about, you talked a little bit about kind of preparing the scene, even like at some points grabbing garbage off the street and stuff like that. How far does that go? How are there times when you'll be like the odds will just be stacked against you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I think about it an occasion when I was photographing the McLaren 600 LT Spider up in Scotland.
Right.
The same shoot where we demonstrated that rig shot, and we were following the route of the North Coast 500, and we were desperately trying to get to this amazing bridge called Carnesby Bridge, and it looked pretty close on the map, but when you actually start driving and you realise that it's a long, long, long way. It was the middle of the summer, so the days were really long, and I don't think it got dark until probably, at least 10 o'clock in the evening. And we had a 720, a 600 LT Spider, and a van with all of our kit in it. And we were driving up there, and it was just getting darker and darker, and the weather was getting worse and worse, and it was starting to rain, and it was really miserable. And we got there, and it was just horrible. And we kind of looked at each other and went, what do we do? And
because you're on site
said,
at this
do you
point.
know what? Let's just give it a go. Let's just give it a go. And we did one run over the bridge, and I just said, do you know what? This looks utter pants. It's just not worth it. But then you come back and you see that if you've got the fundamentals of the shoot in place, which is it's exposed well, it's composed nicely, and the car's sharp, and the scenery is amazing, hey, you know, maybe we did get something. So I can show you.
Let's have a look. Yeah.
Here we have the shot that I was talking about. So you can see that it's pretty grim. It's pretty dull. So what I'm going to do in Lightroom is I'm just going to do my usual trick with the white balance and get the road looking about right. All of a sudden the road looks the right colour, and it's gone from looking sort of gloomy to actually looking, it has some crispness. And then
it almost looks like a sort of fog, like a purposeful atmospheric fog, rather than just smogginess.
I'm just going to boost the orange slightly in the car, just to make it look just a little bit more orangey. And then I shall edit in this program called Luminar 4. Okay. And Luminar 4 is, it's a bit genius.
Okay, I'll strap in for this. I've never heard of it. I have no idea.
Okay, so here we are in Luminar. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of a few bits and pieces that I don't like. You'll probably see down here, there's this yellow, what it is there's a massive electricity pylon just above my head. And that is a thing to stop me tripping over the wire. So I'm just going to use the erase tool in Luminar just to paint that out. And also, I'm just going to get rid of this nasty little handrail here.
Just erased from reality,
just
like a Marvel movie.
Paint those bits out. This is where using a graphics tablet is really nice because it's so accurate.
Yeah, because you're using like a little stylus to just get right in there. Yeah. Oh wow! Look at that. Great.
Boom,
so it just grabs some stuff from next door, does it? And how it works out?
Exactly. It's a kind of a clone tool, but you know, it just if you just notice, see, I can just turn it on and off.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm going to put what's called a LUT on this image. And it's you'll see here it says color styles LUT. LUT stands for lookup tables, and they basically have created all of these really lovely different grading effects.
Oh wow!
Flick through them, and you can just. I always like this one 1990 because it gives it an amazing bit of drama. But I just pare it back a little bit.
Do it all green like a Harry Potter film.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's basically what happens is people watch movies and they go, how did they create that look? And then somebody will spend hours fiddling about and they'll go, bang, this is if you want to call it the Harry Potter LUT. Now I've got so augment AI landscape enhancer. Bang, that immediately.
I'm leaning in. This is amazing. The AI, I mean, this is amazing. The difference is just unbelievable.
Isn't it? And then you can, I can be really classy here, and I can actually replace the sky. So I've got a load of amazing sunsets that I've shot over the years. I can, that looks
Yes.
horrible. Yeah. Cut, don't use that. That looks horrible.
That's amazing. I look like a Star Wars image.
Let's find one that works before we go with it, eh?
Staring in awe at it now at this point.
Yeah.
This picture's amazing. And it's nuts because this is all a photo shoot that you were like at the time going, let's call it a day. Let's not do this.
Exactly. It didn't work. I wasn't happy with it. Just thought, what an utter waste of time it was getting up there.
Mega.
Literally,
yeah.
We've gone from that to that in a few very quick moves.
What an amazing tool. That's so. This leads me on to a question that I think we have a very active community and very creative community on Forza, and there are lots of people out there who are putting together photography within the game. In a second, we're gonna have a look at a couple of people who put some photos together. But a question I think on a lot of people's lips when it comes to sort of in-game photography, but also real-world automotive photography, is how do you make that jump from being a weekend warrior, from being somebody who's out there going to the track and taking photos for their own use, to being a professional or getting paid for their work? What does that look like, or what was that journey like for you?
If you want a career as a photographer, in order to get noticed, you have to do something different. Whether it be the grade that you put out on your pictures or just the style that you shoot in, or you've got to look at other photographers and try and emulate their stuff and then do something different.
Yeah.
Because you have to get noticed. You also, the most important thing is business. Have a sense of business.
Yeah.
You might be a great photographer, but if you can't deal with clients, you might get one job. There was a great phrase that somebody said when there was a client that was pushing and pushing and pushing for them to take one picture that they knew would be horrible. And they said to me, do what the client wants first and then do what you want to do and show them both.
Gotcha.
And 9 times out of 10, the client will go, yes, you were right.
And that's rather than being like, no, I won't do that. That's a bad idea.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You got to be like, I'll do it, but then we'll also do it my way. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's smart. And but there's a huge lesson to be learned in that. That you have to be humble. There has to be an element of humility in the way that you deal with your clients. But it's incredibly rewarding. It's incredibly rewarding. There's a magazine out at the moment that's got a shoot that we did of the McLaren F1 that won Le Mans in 1995. It's not often that we get pictures published, that we actually do shoots for magazines anymore, to that level. And to be able to go into the shop and buy a copy of this magazine and leaf through and go, we created that. It's a huge feeling of satisfaction. And I keep saying this, but I feel very, very lucky to be able to do this because not a lot of people get the opportunity.
Well, from one lucky person to a couple more lucky people, we're going to have a look at a couple of community members and the photos that they put together from Forza Horizon 4. We challenged them to create a static photo, so a photo of the car sitting still. I haven't actually seen or studied entirely their photos yet, so I'm keen to have another look. They also shot some short videos in which they sort of described their creative decision making while they were doing it. And we can check the first out now, and that was from Robbie.
Hi, I am Robbie. It's so nice to be here talking to you. So let's talk about my photo. This photo for me represents what Forza is all about. Beautiful car and beautiful scenery. And this McLaren fitted perfectly to the beautiful sunset I got in Fortin Island. Something curious about this photo, it took me a long time for taking it because I never got to the good weather. It was always rain or cloudy, or it wasn't nice, it wasn't what I wanted, and I was getting frustrated because I know that on Forza we always get nice skies. So I am a little stubborn, so I just waited, and then I got to this beautiful sky and said, that's it, that's what I have been waiting all this time. And I went in photo mode and I did the photo, and I'm very, very pleased with the result. I really hope you guys like it too. And that's it. I think it's important to wait. You never know when you're going to get the shot you want. Well, with that, I also have a question to the photographer. I want to know, what do you do in this case in real life? When you are expecting, you are depending on the nice weather, or the other way around, you are depending on the bad weather for your photo and it doesn't happen. How do you improvise? Or you just give up and say, no, I don't want it. I want the weather that I have in my mind. What do you do? That's it. Well, thank you all for inviting me, and I hope to see you all around. Ciao.
Robbie's one of our top community members, and an interesting question there as well. Something we've touched on already a little bit, but again, what do you do when things aren't going your way? When you know that there's a good shot out there, but you can't quite get the conditions right for it?
I think she's absolutely right. She's hit the nail on the head that you have to wait. You have to wait, and sometimes you have to wait a long time. If you have the luxury of time, you wait. I think for in a lot of situations when you are commissioned to work for a day and you have to produce a set of images in a day, you have to improvise. So if it's pouring with rain, you either have to get wet, or you have to go under cover, and you have to find some shelter. You have to protect your kit from getting wet. Yeah, there's plenty of occasions in racing where you do a 24-hour race and you literally have all 4 seasons in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And you have to be prepared. You have to have all of your rain gear. One of the most important things with shooting cars for clients is the car has to be clean, particularly in very humid countries. In the morning, you go out and you've got an amazing sunrise, and there's been loads of dew on the car overnight, and the minute you open the door, the whole thing steams up. You get condensation on the roof, and you're just cleaning, and then you got somebody cleaning the car, and you run out, and they run out, and you go, it's back, and this patch of condensation just grows.
That's right.
And you can retouch stuff out that isn't too bad.
I think looking at Robbie's photo here as well, I've just got it open in front of me. You can see that it's very clean. It's a very crisp image, and I love the way that you can see the sky as well reflected on the front bonnet. There's a real nice feeling of place because of that.
Yeah. Earlier on, I mentioned that that golden hour. Yeah. My preferred is after the sun has actually gone down.
That's right.
And that's a classic example. It's a classic example. The sun has already gone down, but you get this beautiful sky reflected in the car with soft shadows. So you haven't got harsh sunlight banging off the car, creating shadows. You've got this lovely soft light that's above, the sky is above the car, and the top surfaces of the car reflect the beautiful sunset. She's done a great job. And the wheels are nice and bright as well.
That's awesome. So our next photographer is someone known as Broken Vegetable in the community. He's been around for a long time, got an awesome gamer tag, and I'm really looking forward to see what he says.
Hello everyone, I am Broken Vegetable, and some of you may know me for my photos that I take in video games. I started taking pictures in Forza Motorsport 2. I did a little bit there, not too many. And then ever since then, I took photos in Forza just to update my wallpapers and stuff. I didn't start competing until Forza Motorsport 5 when they released the Nürburgring track. And I won a competition for the Nürburgring. And then after that, it wasn't till Forza Horizon 3 that I started entering the weekly comps that they had. And since then, I've won countless, over 40 weekly comps. The photo that I have chosen was this one that you can see was a 2-car shot. I had a friend come into the game and position their car so that way I could take this shot. I like this shot because I'm a big fan of aperture, and I think that regardless of what photo you're using, aperture will make what you want people to see stand out more. Aperture for me is probably my main tool that I use in my photos to make them stand out, to make them pop, to give it that little bit of I want your eyes to look in a certain place, and then that's why you see the item or the object the way you do, because I'm sort of positioning your eyes to look at a certain place on the photo. I would like to ask, what's one thing that you wish you weren't held back by, whether it be time or money or tools or whatever it may be? Thank you. I hope to see you guys in game.
Wow, great to hear from Broken Vegetable there, and he's definitely, you know, a real scientist of the game. He was particularly curious, Patrick, to ask about sort of restrictions in real world photography. What's the kind of thing that you feel held back by? What would it look like for you to be released from that? What is that thing?
I think probably I think he was absolutely right when he mentioned time restrictions. I think time, it's almost certain that you will come away from a shoot thinking, if only I'd had a little bit more time, I could have done it a little bit better. I think probably one thing that if I had a genie and I could ask for one wish, it would be able to recce the shoot beforehand and go and drive the route, see where all the opportunities are, and have no restriction on time as far as the cars needing to be back, which is why the way that he works in gaming is, for me, sounds really luxurious. Spending as long as he wants just crafting that picture.
Well, we saw it earlier today, right? With golden hour shooting. Even there, it was like we got maybe 5 attempts to get this right. I'm looking right now at Broken Vegetable's photo, and he was talking a lot about guiding the eye there, using focus to guide the eye. And that surely it's what stands out about this photo to me. There's this really, in the right hand side of the picture there, a really crisp front end of a McLaren. You can see the logos, you can see which model of car it is, you can see what make of car it is, and then in the background there's kind of a more sort of a more impressionistic, I suppose, background to put on my art words.
You're absolutely right. He's done two things. He's drawn your eye into the car on the right hand side of the frame, and then he's given you a completely different angle of a similar vehicle that allows you to dream a little bit more about what it would be like to own one of these things, perhaps. Interestingly enough, there's one thing that really catches my eye straight away, which is something that we're always battling with, and that's the wheel centers. The wheel center, for me, is one of the biggest bugbears of my life. If only I could take those wheel centers out and turn them to the right shape, to be in the right position. Sorry, every time. And we retouch them. We do rotate them in retouch if we can't. But it's a really lovely shot, and I love his philosophy of only working within the game and keeping it real.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's amazing, the eye for detail that you have to have. I would never have noticed that. I laughed when you said wheel centers, because I was like, what? That's in the image somewhere? For your last challenge, and perhaps first challenge today, because we haven't really been doing challenges, it's going to be a kind of a car and track combination that we've been giving to every single one of the guests coming on the Forza McLaren show. And it's a run around what we call the Bambi Run, the Bamborough Coast Circuit in a McLaren Senna. And you can see how you measure up to the likes of Bruno Senna and a few of our community members as well, and how your lap time stacks up.
This is so unfair.
You're a natural racing driver, because the excuses, I think we've had excuses since the start of the show. It's been building up.
Good grief.
All right,
can you
here
do
we
this
go.
for me?
It's a generous offer. I want to see though what your chops are like. You spend your whole life working with your fingers, taking snaps with the camera, navigating menus with your thumbs on the back of the camera. You must have pretty agile gaming instincts from that.
I've nailed this now.
There you go. See, it's in your blood.
Doesn't take long, does it?
Doesn't take a second, mate. There you go. So this is your first lap. This is your Saito lap out there on track.
Is it? Am I going to do 2 more after this?
You get 2 more after this to set a decent time.
There's not going to be any grass left.
There's not going to be any McLaren 600 LT left, yeah.
Well, Senna, actually.
Senna, that's right, it is now, isn't it? Won't be any of that left, just be a seat skidding along the asphalt by the end of this. Judging by your expression, I can't see the screen, but it looks like it's going well.
No, I've got sweaty palms.
Okay. The nerves are kicking in. The racing driver's instinct. You've been around racing drivers, your whole life. You must have thought from time to time, how would I fare?
I can talk a great race, but that's about what's the old adage? Those that can do, those that can't talk about it.
That's right. That's exactly it. Those who can't talk about it. Yeah. Can relate to that.
Okay. Whee!
Hey, get out. Take it. Never did you? Did you get a lap in?
I did.
Get in, mate. Keep it up. Got 2 more. Get yourself a sweet fast lap. And you'll be right up there on the leaderboard. I am still thinking that there should be some kind of handicap. No, the other way around. Bonus advantage for photographers out there.
There are plenty of photographers who are younger than me who have way more time on their hands.
Okay. So they might have like more chops on this game. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh no! Once you get into a tank slapper, it's really difficult. It is real life.
Hard. Yeah. The car once it slips away from you, it's hard. It's hard to keep under control. I'm looking forward to reviewing this footage later. I feel as though I feel as though you've had some talent in hiding it from us.
This is so embarrassing because I've sat next to some of the world's greatest racing drivers in these cars, and they make it look so easy in real life, and I reckon I can do the same as them in real life, but damned if I can do it on the game.
I mean,
there we go.
I tell you, Bruno made it look pretty easy. He had a whole
steering wheel.
He had a steering wheel and pedals, everything.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
Years of training.
How come it just died? Did I damage the car too much?
Did it just has it ended it for you?
Yeah.
I don't know what you did. How many laps did you get?
Just went to a blank screen and then checkpoint missed. Oh, it's done
You're still in it. You just got to keep inside the checkpoints. You got to.
Oh, is this the checkpoint challenge?
It's a lap challenge, but in order to get to tell that you've gone around the lap, you have to go through the checkpoints. You can't, otherwise you could just cut the lap.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, what's to tell you? Like you have to go around the corners.
Well, yeah. I thought I could collect the flags on the missing checkpoint. Oh no!
Don't miss the checkpoint. Don't do that.
Yeah, sorry.
How are you getting on there? How's the what's the lap time looking like so far?
Oh, I can't take my eyes off the car. I can't look at it. Target's 51.
Okay.
That again. Target is 51. Best is 129.
129. That's better than it could have been. Breaking that sub 1 minute mark is tricky. I feel like that 51 might have been put there by a bit of a mean, causes being a bit mean by making that your rival.
Yeah. It's the reason you keep asking me how it's going is because it's never taken this long for anybody to get around the track.
Has the Xbox broken? Is there some kind of health issue perhaps?
Have you had a power cut?
Have we had a power cut? No, of course not. No.
How did Bruno manage to talk all his way? Oh no!
No, he's
really,
a cool customer as well, right? So he's just chatting away, just sitting there like, just completely relaxed, talking us through the corners. You hit the castle.
Yeah, that's how far off the track I went. Right.
I mean,
and across the line.
Oh, wow, amazing! Great job.
Great job, Patrick.
You can keep going. It won't stop you.
No, I'm fine.
But,
I'll
okay.
129 if that's all right.
129. Great job. Great job. Well, okay job. Average job. Not great job. At least we know that Bruno Senna has a smile on his face right now. If you didn't catch my road trip with Bruno, that's on the channel as well. We'll keep adding to the leaderboard with each episode of Forza McLaren. Crikey, wow, decent road trip today, Patrick. I've had a good time.
Thank you. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it, and I hope some of what I've said has been useful, interesting, educational, relevant.
It's so fascinating. I've spoken to a bunch of people about Forza and about different sort of aspects of the game, often about the driving and about the racing. I don't think I've ever spoken to a professional photographer before about the game, about in-game photography. It's such an interesting time for that. The whole thing is evolving so quickly that you've brought it's so interesting, such an interesting context. And so many little nice tricks as well, little hints and tricks for getting raising the photography to that next level.
Yeah, absolutely. I've really enjoyed it, and I think what I found really interesting is the whole concept of having that sort of global image that you can walk around, you can do everything that I normally have to do before the car arrives, after the car's actually been photographed, and it gives you so much scope for creating something really special. And I hope that what I've been able to have a play with, have a look at, and demonstrate is that just a little bit of thought and a little bit of extra looking, you can turn something great into something really good and really special and very different. And you can do put your own mark on the pictures that you take inside the gaming environment.
For some of our community members out there who are going to want to follow along, see what you're getting up to, where can they find you?
So the agency is called BDI. Our Instagram is BDI Photography. BDI is spelled BEADYEYE rather than the initials BDI. We're not particularly active on Instagram. It's one of those things where we show stuff that we've been super proud of. There's a lot of stuff that we do which we can't actually talk about. There's a lot of work with development cars, a lot of stuff that is shot for publication that we have to wait until it's published. But hopefully the community can see some stuff on there that is a demonstration of some of the techniques that we've been trying to talk about today.
One last question before I let you go today, Patrick, and that's the world of computers, especially within automotive, the world of video games and simulation seems to be overlapping so much with the world of traditional motorsport and the ways that kind of stuff works. When do you think, or do you think at all, you could be hiring as an agency somebody who's a professional in-game photographer rather than a professional real-life photographer?
The world of gamer to racer, as you know, has been proven to be super, super successful. The understanding of how to capture images within games all the way through lockdown became supremely important, and there are photographers that I work with who have all of a sudden found a whole new opportunity within the world of business to do in-gaming photography. And my goodness, some of the stuff that you've seen created, some of the stuff that's been put out there, some of the manufacturers that have been supporting these championships, and the quality of images that have been coming out of these games has been utterly mind-blowing. And I do not doubt that in the same way that we all went, digital will never take off, that you've absolutely hit the nail on the head. It won't be very long before there will be specialist gaming photographers who have hopefully as long and as successful and as an enjoyable career as people like me have had.
Well, thank you so much for giving us some of your time today, Patrick. It's been incredible, and I can't wait to catch you again.
Thank you so much, Alie. It's been great fun talking to you, and thanks to all of you for supporting this. It's been a hell of a good day.